Today we're doing a race from Laguna Seca. So here we are. We do the reconnaissance lap thing here. This is a GT4 car. So we'll get going on the lap here. Coming down the front straight. It's important to get a good launch onto the front straight because it's very long. And the turn coming onto the front straight is deceptively tricky. Here under braking, we get on braking hard right around the 4 marker here. We just pass it right there around the 4 marker. Get on the brakes hard. I'm going to go in slow motion here. You see the brake pressure like at 90-ish percent, 80, 85%, fading off a little bit. It's kind of a double apex turn. It is a double apex turn here. You kind of come out a little bit wide. This is kind of exaggerated. And then turn back in here. I started to over rotate a little bit there. You can see the car kind of correct. Um, and then we'll keep it in slow-mo here. This turn is narrow on exit, so you're basically limited by how much you can get the car turned on the way in. And you can see it got on the throttle kind of hard here for my qualifying lap, and had to correct there. You swing out wide a little bit here. Here you're kind of getting the car into a bit of a 4-wheel slide. Oh, I think the car rotated enough. Now kind of catching it a little bit. That could have been better. Here we break around the line right there, that white line we just went over, turn in, wait for a half second or so, a second or so, and then get back on the throttle. If you get back on the throttle too soon, you come out a bit too wide, like here almost came out too wide there. And then you come up the hill a bit. This next turn here is tricky because you can't really see the apex until right when you're already braking and turning into it. You can see back on the throttle immediately, and you got to straighten out the hands real quick. Back up, going up the hill towards the corkscrew.
5 minutes to go.
Stay
5 minutes
to
left.
the left. Come over this rise, over the curbing, brake hard right around just before the top of the hill there, and then you turn in here. I missed the apex there. If we look at this from like chase view, you could see I should be all over these curbs over here, basically tire on the left side of this here. So we missed that quite a bit. That's going to cost us. And then now that puts way over here, tires off. I think I probably got an invalid lap for that. This turn is really tricky. It's easy to miss your apex here. I wasn't far enough to the right on entry to then get the car turned enough. You can see I got the wheel pretty cranked, but I'm not as close to that curb as I should be. So if we look at the chase view here, could be closer to that curb. There's half a car width there. Could be closer there. Also wasn't carrying enough speed because it didn't even use all the track on exit. And then this one's a little bit easier. Could have been farther up on those curbs on the left side. You turn down in, and you should be almost touching that red paint, basically. So that was okay. Could have been better. But that's a lap here. And then coming up here, I brake right around the 2, maybe slightly before is probably a little bit safer. So you can, because it's okay to give up a little bit of speed here to make sure you get a perfect exit over there onto that straightaway. But it depends how under pressure you are during the race, where the other car is, that sort of thing. And then here you want to come right to there, where you're basically just clipping that left curb. You don't really want to hit it because it's bumpy. It sticks up. It's a berm. I don't know if we have a lower camera to show that, but carry as much speed as you can onto the front straightaway, and there's the lap. So let's go ahead and jump to the race. I thought it was a particularly fun one. So I think we will go in chase view here. We'll go ahead and start. So it's a rolling start.
1 gallon left. Beadle has just retired from the race.
So lap one's always kind of cautious aggression here. Everybody's on cold tires. Everybody's a little twitchy and a little nervous because of that. Lots of cars real close together. all that normal stuff.
Okay, Jay,
You can see that
don't
little
think
wiggle
about the
there.
lap times. Just hit each and
So
every apex.
I
10
just want to
minutes
talk
to
about
go.
this for a
That's
minute.
10 minutes left.
So it's easier to see with the in-car. So we'll go slow-mo here. Um, so if you watch the angle of the steering wheel, and so I turn in here. I'm on the throttle. The car starts to slide. You see, I straighten out the steering wheel. Got to correct to straighten out. I was getting a rear slide, and so we'll watch it again, but with the controls up this time. So this time, watch the go slow mo again. Watch the gas. On gas hard. On gas hard. Oh, back off the gas. Corrected with the steering and the throttle at the same time. And so if we look at the rear chase, that little lifting off the throttle is going to show up a little bit when these guys come into this next turn here. He's getting a run. And that's from way back there where I made that little bit of mistake. Here's kind of where it's showing up of that car. As we slowed down, um, he had made up ground. It just wasn't as obvious before. Um, and that was just because of that bobble on cold tires right there. Um, so I have the brake set, the brake bias set at the default setting of 56.1 braking to the front. Um, but I'll talk about the rest of that in a minute. Let's go back to let's go cockpit view here. So you can see in the mirror a little bit to the left that car is close, and we get a little bit of run on these guys in front of us still. Got a run coming up the inside here. Come in here, about turn it, and you hear that collision there. And so what happened was, and this is what I felt at the time, was I was getting a bit of a run on that car on the inside. I didn't feel like backing out of it, even though we're a lap one and you kind of want to be careful. I feel from here they could tell like I'm pulling up alongside. I'm starting to pull up alongside, so they know somebody has a run on them. They know they're in traffic. They can see two cars in front of them. I'm talking about from this car's perspective over here, this purple and black BMW. So I feel like they know I'm there. If we go to chase view, uh, let's go ahead and play this forward. Under braking, they definitely know I'm there. And if you look at the angle of these cars, because I wasn't sure at the time, I felt like the car to my right, this 19 car, this purple and black BMW, I felt like they turned in really early, um, and that's what caused this incident, this contact. Uh, that's what I felt. But sometimes, from your perspective in the moment, it's hard to know exactly if you're right because you saw what you saw for a fraction of a second. And so, if you watch this carefully, look where the 18 car is up here, and look where I am, and look where this 19 car is. This 19 car is turning in more than these cars up here already have. They're single file and they're turning in later. This car has a car on the inside, which surely they saw in the mirror, surely they see in front of them to the left right now, and still turns in early. There's more room it could be to the right out here, like these guys were. So it's farther in on the straightaway and then turns in early for the turn coming up here with a car alongside. And so I think that was just a mistake on this car's part. Um, but to their defense, their vision's a bit blocked. I'm definitely blocking it now of where the apex of that turn is. They can't see it. They can't see through my car. So now they're just kind of sort of guessing at where the apex is. And they could maybe follow the line of the car in front or stay a little bit to the right of that, knowing there's a car to the inside. But no, I think there's kind of some panic here and turn in early. And so, anyway, that's what caused that. So if we look at what happened here, so they end up running wide and then try to collect it back up, but didn't. Took out some more cars and there was carnage because of that. So that's unfortunate for those people. But I don't think I did anything wrong. I was right where I should be.
The gap in front is now 0.5.
I saw that there. I saw that that green Porsche had a run on me and backed out of it. And so that's something I just kind of file away for later. Of I see him in my mirror. His Porsche is there, but I decide, you know what? This is a narrow point of track. I got my braking done decently well. It's not a really great spot to challenge for a pass, and so I went ahead and turned in, and it all worked out this time. I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to switch back to chase view here for a second, because that can go the other way too. Of that car tries to push it and hold that position up next to you through basically the narrowest, dangerous, slowest part of the track, and it's real easy for it to go wrong. Uh,
The gap to Kim behind is increasing. It's now 4.2.
hard braking into 1 and 2. This was a bit better line than I showed before. Yeah, that was a pretty good line. Could have gotten on the throw slightly earlier. So here we're limited again by the width of the track at exit right there. Here we're not so much. You can see a little bit of scrapes on the side there from that incident. I heard some contact back there somewhere. That was a great turn. You could tell all the way all over those curbs on the way in. I'm struggling with these turns coming down this hill here. Um, right there, you can see I wasn't over the curbs enough. So there's a lot going on, but you try to make a mental note of these things of like, okay, I need to turn in a little sooner, maybe brake a little more, brake a little less, or a little earlier or later, trying to sort of mental notes of
The gap to Larson ahead is increasing.
where
It's now 1.29.
where you need to work on things. I notice I'm making up a lot of ground under braking right there. I just shifted my brake balance just before coming down the front straight right there, 2 clicks to the back. So now I'm at like 55.6 front brake bias. And so we went from like 56.1 to 55 and a half. And so what that means is the when you nail the brakes, you're putting a little bit less pressure on the front and a little bit more pressure on the rear than we had been. It's not so much the raw numbers. It's more about the difference of we just shifted it back a little over 0.5%. And so this helps the car rotate. Uh, Under braking, you lose a little bit of stability, but you help rotation as you trail brake, as you trail off the brakes as you turn in. So like turns like this, it would help with where you're braking as you're coming in, or turns like this, you're braking as you're coming in. You take a little bit of brake pressure away from the front, so that means they have a little bit more grip for turning. You add a little bit of brake to the rear, that makes them want to slide a little bit more. You can tell we got a little bit of a slide there, which was actually helpful to get onto the front straight a little bit better. Um, so you might ask, well, why don't you just start with that setting, dummy? The reason you don't start with that setting, or I don't start with that setting, is the tires are cold at the beginning. And so you saw that little slip I had coming out of turn 5, I guess it is right here. Turn 4, this next one up here. The little bit of a slide I had on the first lap. It's because the rear tires were cold. I'm asking them to still keep turning right here and get on the throttle hard. And they slipped a bit, and that's what caused that bobble. Um, so I don't want to start with even more rear brake pressure because I would have got the car into more rotation and that I probably would have not been able to save it. That 0.6% would have made it a lot more difficult. I would have lost more time and would have been harder to save.
This is okay.
With
Keep
just
those
a little
exit
bobble, it
speeds
would
up.
have been more than
That's
a little
5
bobble.
minutes to go. 5 minutes.
So that's why I waited till the tires warmed up a little bit and then shifted the brake bias. Still missing, could be 2 or 3 feet farther into the inside. You might wonder, does 2 or 3 feet really make a difference in lap time? A little bit, maybe a tenth, half a tenth. But if I don't make that mental note and I don't make that adjustment, next time I'm maybe off by a couple more feet as the tires wear down, that sort of thing. So you want to keep paying attention to it, keep making adjustments to the driving. Yak, I got to getting closer behind us there. He must have got a great run coming into.
The gap to half Richter behind is now 0.5.
Yeah, so I'm closing up. He got a great run coming into through 1 and 2. Using all the track on entry.
Okay, Jay. Ignore that fucker
All
in the
the
mirror.
track on
Stick to
exit
your line.
pretty much.
Nail those exits.
The car behind me did a little bit better job. Oh, the car behind me had a little bit of a bobble there. Had a little bit of a slide going. And you see there's a bit of traffic in front of us. I'm going to switch cameras here. Uh, let's actually go into cockpit view. There's a gaggle of cars in front of us. We are running in 11th right now, and there's I think 6 cars right in front of us. See if we can count them real quick. Yeah, 6 cars right in front of us.
You're reeling, Larson.
So this
the gap is now 0.6.
What's that? 4th through 11th right here. We're on lap 6, and we have 4th through 11th within maybe 2 seconds of each other. So this is not very common. I don't remember another race that I've been in.
Just 2 minutes left. 2 minutes to go.
On a road course like this, where you have so many cars so close, 6 laps in. First lap or two, sure, but and they're battling up there. 4th and 5th are side by side. We're side by side for a second there. Um, you tell somebody shot it way up the inside.
Patterson is now in the lead.
Maybe we can get a better view of this by switching up our cameras a little bit. Watch these guys. Oop, oop. Just in time for the drama. Okay. So what happened here? So it looks like this teal Porsche that's just behind the white car there. Uh, he goes off. He goes wide. Let's switch camera angles here. Go chase view here. All right, I'm gonna go back to our chase view. Okay, so that the teal Porsche up there, teal and black Porsche, the second one,
Incident in the
he
Andretti
goes off
hairpin.
the track. He gets into the gravel right now. Car right behind him gets in the gravel right behind him. The black car right behind them almost goes into the gravel. These next couple cars go into it. This guy spins, starts aiming back towards the right side of the track. I see it, hit the brakes, dive for the edge, just get scraped by it and slide through. but the hole behind me was closing. So what happened to the car behind me? He makes the opposite decision. He sees this happening from his view, which is not as good as this view from above. So he's back here. Oops.
There's an
Or
incident
at
in
least at
the
half
Andretti
speed.
hairpin.
So he's coming through here. He sees this start to occur. He decides to go left, barely scrapes through on that side, and that works out. So uh, we all get by. Somebody later collects the side of that car, which I think is completely silly. I don't know who spun here. See if we can switch out here. So who hits him? This guy hits him. Who's that guy? Christopher Miller? Let's see. Cockpit view. No, this guy in front of Christopher Miller. This guy, John Fogarth. Okay. So how does this guy not get through here?
There's an
He's coming
incident in
through.
the Andretti hairpin.
That happens. That happens. Oh well. The car started to roll. Maybe not completely his fault. Okay. Back to the action for us. Uh, so this had just happened just before this turn. Um, and so again, we squeezed by this, just barely got uh, scrape. I noticed got a little bit of a run going here. So I go pull to the inside and I back out of it because I felt like I wasn't far enough alongside. But he doesn't know I'm backing out of it, right? Like he's here, he has a car to his right, and he still cranks it down uh, to the point. At this point, like there was no space. It was a good thing I backed out of it. Otherwise, it would have been a wreck. Spin, probably both of us spinning, very likely. Um, so I process all that real quick, and I'm still on it. And I'm like, I'm close enough. I'm gonna send it. I'm diving in here, right? I'm close enough to have a run. I'm going in. He pulls in early. Look where his tires are. Look where the line is. And this car up here, who's basically single file, is farther to the right. He's turning in early, even though he sees me in the mirror, knows there's a car to the inside. He's turning in early. He's forcing this contact, um, in my mind. And so let's go in car. Watch this. Watch my steering wheel. All right, we'll go slow motion. We're not even to the turn yet. He's way turning in. I turn to the right for a split second and then turn back to the left. Go full speed. So I remember this very distinctly. So you might wonder, why did I turn to the right? Right here, I turned to the left, saw it to the right, and then back to the left. So the reason is, and this is like, I don't know, feel and intuition at this point, kind of. When you make contact on like the right front, when you're going into a turn like this, basically it's slowing down this front side of the car. So the tendency would be for the car to spin out, for the rear to spin. So for you to spin basically the car like counterclockwise. And so by turning to the right for a split second there, I'm keeping the front end in front of the rear end. Because if I don't do that, he's going to cause me to spin out counterclockwise here. And so I'm just trying to keep my car under control. And that happened. So if we look at it from this perspective. So luckily he's able to gather it up and not go off track, but I don't know. I had the elbows out a little bit at that point. I felt like I backed out of it once for him, and he definitely took advantage. And the second time, I didn't feel the need to back out of it again. Oh, he got collected from behind. That's him going backwards there.
There's an incident in the corkscrew. It looks like it's Larson.
Let's look at this from in-car. Forgot what was happening here. I think this black car was struggling a little bit. I think these guys have gone off a tiny bit. These guys are battling hard here. Lots of chaos here. You guys are getting into it.
There's an incident in the corkscrew. We think it might be Larson.
Yeah, that was a lot. Okay. Try not to belabor this too much. Let's look at this from. It was diving to the inside, got the nose chopped, went back to the racing line. These guys touch in front of me. I get a little bit of run, go this way, get blocked, go that way.
Incident
Nail
in
brakes,
turn one.
jump
Looks
in
like
here.
Patterson. Incident in the Andretti hairpin. We think
Slide
it might
right in
be
front of it.
Patterson.
11 car. So we were 11th last lap, crossing the line here. Now in 7th. That was 4 cars in 1 lap. One was from the spin coming out of turn 2, and then the rest of them were passes on track. So that was a pretty eventful lap. They're still battling back there behind us. Trying to get a little bit wider view here. There we go. Those 2 Porsches behind me are battling. Oh, contact there between the Porsches. So we are on lap 8, and I lost it there. I think I know what happened. I think I just sort of brain farted, and I was thinking about it too much. I was getting a little bit cautious, and I didn't want to overshoot this turn. And so what did I do? I didn't brake hard enough, and I overshot the turn. So we're going to do this in slow motion. Just watch the brake pressure. Gets up to 90, 95, 90. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I locked the brakes a little. Yeah, I think maybe I'll lock the left front. Let's look at, I'm sorry, right front. Right front. Okay, we'll go slow motion on the right front. Nope, didn't lock it. Just didn't get it right. Maybe let's look at this one more time. Okay, so look at this from chase view, slow motion. I normally brake right about the line or between the 3 marker up here, and maybe I broke a little bit later this time. See when the lights come on. It came on right at the line. I think I just locked up. I'm at like 100% braking here instead of 90%. And so I think I was basically sliding the front tires instead of slowing the car down. And you can see there's these darker tracks here. I'm definitely sliding the tires here. They're not locked, but they're sliding. Yeah, especially from this point, it's sliding. All right. Oh well. So I screw this up. I just straighten it out because I know I'm not going to make the turn. Uh, get back on track safely. Stay to the right because I know these guys got to run coming here. But now I'm up to speed. He tries to squeeze me down a little bit there, but we're all right. This guy's get into each other there. Let's talk about this for a sec. So from my perspective here, let's just go in car, I'll show it to you. So we're coming through here. And to me, this Porsche right here, I'm coming out alongside. To me, he turns right a little bit. It's ever so slight, but he's not, there's no reason. He's turning the car left. If anything, you kind of overcorrect and you end up going farther to the left as you come out of here. This guy knows there's somebody to the right. I'm sure he knows it. And yet puts his tires out on the paint at the exit of the curb. So he's way inside. So he definitely screwed that up. So maybe he's just running wide. But I felt like he could have been turning more. So I felt like right here he was like maybe purposely squeezing me. And I'm already out here. If you go outside of this green, you get off track. And so I need to stay on this green, and I can't go any further. So we end up making contact here, and I could have avoided it, but I didn't because I didn't want to get it off track, and I wasn't going to be squeezed. Um, so I'm just trying to keep a nice, good, tight line. The rear end stepped out a little bit on me there. I'm keeping a little bit of a defensive line here. I wasn't as far to the edge of the track on entry as I normally would have been. I see him take a peek, but I don't think he's going to go for it through there. And I didn't get my braking right on there. Get back on track. And this Porsche looks overly optimistic here. I brake
to Dossett ahead is
where I normally
increasing.
should.
It's now 3.7.
He
There's an
screws
incident
that up
in
completely.
Corkscrew. It looks like it's Cardoso.
So he should have realized he's on a different line because he's trying to get by me, and had to brake earlier. He did not. He tried to brake later, and it did not work out. Um, let's go back to
There's an incident
cockpit,
in
I
the
think.
Andretti hairpin.
So we're on lap 9. It's a 15-minute race. Our laps are about a minute 30. So we probably got 2 laps to go, maybe. Oof, that Porsche really overshot. I mean,
There's an incident in turn
the
3.
BMW in front of us really overshot that entry. Oof, this guy slowing down on the entrance to that turn. So this may seem minor, but you got to make all these little adjustments. Um, so normally we'd be way out there where this teal Porsche is to the left, but he's there and he's going slow, and so I can't go. I'd rather have my tires out on this curb, but I can't. So this means I got to brake earlier. I also don't know if this guy's going to start to pull in or start to get back up to speed. So this means I got to start braking earlier because he's basically just made this turn tighter suddenly by being there and going slow and being unpredictable. So now I got to brake earlier, give him space, slow down more for this turn, still try to get it right, get the speed right, hit the apex and get back on the power correctly, and get that done. So it's making all these little adjustments on the fly. It's challenging. Obviously, you don't want to
Kim behind is now
lose too much time, give up
1.5.
too much, because that just you lose distance, you lose track position to the car in front of you. That was better. Not perfect, but better going through there. That was a little better. I'd like to see the tires almost touching the red, or basically touching the red, like that. I could have carried more speed because I had all that track on the right there.
There's an incident
Kind of
in
overslowed
turn
for
one.
that.
It looks like Alba. All right, Jay, you're reeling. Half Richter
And
in.
that's it.
The
Race is
gap's
over.
now 2:29.
So we brought it home 11th. We're car number 11. That means we're like the 11th best iRating in the race. Uh, Started 14th, but I had a ton of fun. That was an awesome race. I really enjoyed that one. Uh, cool. Thanks for watching.